Hi everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing this standard size pointed black cincher with functional front lacing here, made by Electra Designs. So here is the front, side, back, and the other side. The center front of this corset by the point is 10.5 inches high, and on the side seam here it's 6.5 inches high. I'm not entirely sure, but I think if you buy the rounded cincher instead of the pointed one, then it might be a little bit shorter in the center front here. This is the standard size 20 T cincher, which means it has a closed waist of 20 inches, and the T means that it's the tight lacing version instead of the regular, or I guess a softer silhouette version. I measured the rib cage right at the lower area here, and it's around 24 inches. The waist, like I said, is about 20 inches, and the high hip here is around 29 inches, and the low hip is about 32. However, this corset was made from Electra Designs' old standard chart, and at the beginning of this year she started working on a new standard size chart, so her new corsets might have different measurements compared to this one, which is why I'm kind of hurrying up and getting this review out now. So these older corsets made from Electra Designs' older size chart, they're a little bit tight for me around the rib cage, although I feel that if I had a higher corset, if I had a full underbust corset instead of a cincher, then I would have less of this muffin top right here, because I know that I naturally have a very fleshy torso. But the waist feels very nice. I love the silhouette that this gives me. It nips in right underneath my floating ribs, and I find it very comfortable, as well as the hips here. They don't pinch, and they're actually even possibly a tad loose in the back of the hip here, but I actually prefer that because it means that it's not pressing on my iliac crest or my iliac nerve there. So here's a corset laying flat, and I had partially unlaced this corset in the front here because it has laces on both sides. I just wanted easy access to the inside of this corset. For the materials of this, I believe it's 3 layers, but it might actually be 2. The outside, this fashion fabric, is a black brooch, which it seems to be very densely woven, so it would probably hold in the bones by itself. And in the lining here, this is herringbone coutil. Laying the corset on its side, it has a 6-panel pattern, so 12 panels total. 1, 2, 3 makes the front of the corset, and 4, 5, 6 makes the back here. The panels were assembled using a top stitch, and actually Electra Design says on her website that every seam is actually quadruple stitched, so it's very, very sturdy. And then there are boning channels that are, there's tons of boning channels in here actually, but some of them are on the seams, some of them are in the middle of the panels. I'll get to that a little bit later. And turning to the inside of this corset, I hope it's coming out on camera, there is a 1-inch wide waist tape running through all panels of this corset. It's invisibly stitched between the layers. Here's a close-up of the binding. It looks to be made from commercial black satin bias binding. It's very neat. It's machine stitched on the outside here as well as on the inside. It looks very neat from both sides, and even the points on this cincher have been done very neatly as well. In the back of the corset, there is a floating Modesty panel. It's suspended on the laces here, unstiffened, and finished in the same black floral brooch. And on the front here, there's also a Modesty placket covering these front laces. This one is stitched down to one side, but I think, if I remember correctly, this was actually added by the previous owner, not by the original corseteer. So obviously this corset does not have a front busk. The original owner had requested that this corset have functional front lacing instead of a busk. One of the ways that I can tell the difference between the front of the corset and the back, obviously apart from the difference of the Modesty panels, is the fact that the back has lacing bones. So this is a 1/2 inch wide flat steel bone with actual holes drilled into it, and these grommets actually fit into the holes there. So it pretty much eliminates the risk of the grommets pulling out or the fabric ripping from stress because it's being actually supported by the bone there. However, in the front, it has the basically the boning and the grommeting method that you see in most corsets, where it has a bone sandwich on each side, and these are actually laid in the fabric itself without having the bone anchoring it directly. So with that in mind, moving on to bones, there are a total of 36 bones in this tiny little corset, so 18 on each side. And you might be thinking, how can so many bones be crammed into this one thing? I will show you. So in the center front here, there are 2 1/4 inch wide flat steel bones supporting the grommets here. And then there is an average of 3 to 4 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones on each panel here. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then here there is another 1/4 inch wide flat steel bone, and then of course the lacing bone at the very back there for 18 on each side. Here's a close-up of the eyelets in the back of the corset. There are 18 of them, 9 on each side. They're equidistantly spaced. Obviously, they have to be because there's no other way that you can put them into lacing bones here. And Electra Design says that these are eyelets and not grommets. You can tell by the width of the flange here. She says that they have a very small flange and a longer shank. So the longer shank is necessary to actually be able to secure the eyelets on the back of this corset because the lacing bone makes it quite a bit thicker here. So she says that grommets usually have a shorter shank that can't fit these lacing bones properly. So even though these are still 2 parts, they still have the washer on the underside. She calls them eyelets instead of grommets. And moving the Modesty panels aside, you can see that all of these have nice big washers. None of them are split. They all look in very good condition. None of them are coming out. And the laces that came with this corset are black 1/2 inch wide double-faced satin ribbon, very strong, no stretch to it, difficult to break. It holds its bows very well. It glides well through the eyelets here, so I have no problems with them. The price for a standard size point and cincher starts at $260. If you want the functional front lacing here, that is another $60 markup for a cincher. And if you wanted the double boning, that is another $50 markup. I hope you enjoyed this review and you learned something new. If you did like it, please remember to click that like button and help support the channel. If you have any comments or questions about this particular corset or about Electra Design's new standard size corsets, which I will be actually reviewing one of them next week, feel free to leave a comment down below and I would be happy to answer your questions or forward your questions on to Alexis. So I will see you all after the weekend for another video. Bye!